Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office on this Monday morning. We're up to the 4th day of August already. The 4th day of August, 2025, and this is the morning briefing. Looking out the window from the home weather office, blue sky, a little breeze, another comfortable morning, borderline cool, and it is going to be another nice day today, and same thing tomorrow. The question remains whether or not it's really going to heat up at the end of the week. So, yeah, to have heat or not to have heat, that is the question. But it does look as though the end of this week, maybe even starting as early as Wednesday, will get warmer. Some areas are likely going to be seeing temperatures at or above 100 degrees, especially for the end of the week. Some areas likely stay below that. So it's either going to be hot or it's going to be very, very warm, keeping in mind that the definition that I use for hot here is 100 degrees. So, if it's 98, it's only very, very warm, as opposed to 100 when it's officially hot. But none of that today. Instead, this morning we are starting off with clear skies. Not much in the way of marine layer this morning. Even down through the Salinas Valley, there's a little bit of a ribbon of that, but you can see there's not much marine layer. Little layer of smoke that has come off the big cliff fire, which I checked is around 500 acres. There is a bigger fire down south. I'll talk more about in a little bit. Going to have to track the smoke on this. Right now, for those of you that may be watching in Southern California, the LA basin, and even all the way down toward San Diego, lots and lots of smoke as the smoke comes off that fire. It's just to the east of Santa Maria. Again, I'll talk more about that in just a second. But coming back to Northern California, as you can see, we have clear skies, great air quality, just really, really nice. And so far, I know we're only a few days in, but yeah, let me just kind of review what we did over the weekend. Friday, we did 93, Saturday, 93, Sunday, 90. For this time of year, really nice. Those temperatures are at and slightly below average for this time of year, and will continue to be in this range, both in terms of the highs and the lows for today and tomorrow. However, we are going to see the temperatures go back up toward Wednesday and beyond. I'm going to skip ahead to the fires. Just two main fires burning. This is the Gifford fire. Right now, 65,000 acres. Let's see if they've got any info on this. 65,000 acres, 3% containment. It's burning in some very, remote terrain here. I back this out a little bit. You see Santa Maria is here, and the Carrizo Plain area is over in here. I believe this was started as a car fire or started by a car. I think it started as like 4 separate fires. And this will continue to put up a lot of smoke, unfortunately, because it just is the type of terrain that it's burning in. A lot of fuel down in here, and so for those of you in Santa Barbara County and down toward LA, and probably toward Bakersfield, this will continue to bring up some smoke depending on the way the wind blows. Right now, it doesn't look as though the wind is going to shift from the south enough to bring any of that into the Central Valley. And there's also the big cliff fire, which is moving very slowly. It's only up to 500 acres now, but this too is burning in some steep terrain. This is one of those fires that just could kind of smolder and go on for a while. Right now, 500 acres, no containment on it, burning in remote terrain. The good thing is the Butler fire is basically done. Let's see what they're saying. Yeah, 91% containment, so I think they let that burn into its the areas that they wanted it to burn in and hemmed in by previous fires and that sort of thing. So that fire is done. So really only 2 main fires burning in the state right now. There's that one, but there's the biggest one down here. Again, the Gifford fire, 65,000 acres. Let's take a look at the big picture here and show you what's happening. A few things to point out here on the 6Z GFS. Trough here, ridge here, which means we have a comfortable day today, and this is tomorrow. You'll notice that the trough lifts out and then the high begins to build in. But the high, at least on this run, is not as dominant as what we had been looking at. This is up to Wednesday night, Thursday. Still a bit of troughiness here and enough ridging here. So the trough is weaker, meaning the temperatures could go into the upper 90s to maybe as high as 100 degrees. But that's different than seeing the high kind of parked over the state, which some of the models had been showing last week for this time frame, Thursday, Friday. And so while it will be warmer right now, anyway, the models aren't indicating big time heat until you get out until the following week. This is Monday, Tuesday of next week, maybe showing a more dominant high. We'll see about that. So the good thing here is that when we see a pattern like this, it keeps popping up 10 days out or more. And, those really aren't reliable. So, yeah, it just keeps showing up, way out there on the horizon and not in the short term, which is why I think that over this week, the temperatures today, tomorrow for the valley start in the low 90s. And then for Wednesday through Friday, we'll talk about upper 90s with some valley spots like Redding and Red Bluff, maybe going up to 100. So this is next, what day are we up to? Next Wednesday. There is something I want to point out here, only because some people on social media like to point out things. This is a hurricane showing up on the models, and go ahead, a couple of frames here. What day are we up to now? So now we're up to Saturday the 16th. So we're up to full, almost 2 weeks out. It's showing a hurricane going into South Carolina. It's one of those things, if somebody posts something about that on social media, yeah, they don't know what they're talking about. You can't forecast a hurricane 2 weeks out. So let's talk a little bit about our wind. This is this afternoon. Nice delta breeze. It's going to get windy again on the east side of the Sierra. South and southwest wind on Lake Tahoe, which means areas around Incline Village get windy, but areas down towards South Shore aren't as bad and choppy. So that's today. And then we go to tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and you notice the wind's a lot weaker. This area in blue from Sacramento through Marysville and Chico, very, very light winds, not as much wind in the Sierra. So Tuesday, maybe 1 or 2 degrees warmer, less delta breeze in the afternoon and evening. And then on Wednesday, when we could see afternoon temperatures in the upper 90s, same thing, just very, very little in the way of an onshore breeze. So it is going to get warmer this week, but is it going to get hot? Well, we may see some areas up around 100 degrees for especially Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But it doesn't look like it's blazing hot. So the hottest temperature Sacramento has seen so far this year is 102. And I know for some parts of the country that seems like, it's excessive, but, 102 is really, really low for the hottest temperature we've seen so far. And right now, I don't see anything hotter than that. That can all change. We'll see how the models evolve over the next, 48 hours or so. But yes, I don't think the end of this week is going to be as comfortable as today is going to be. So if you don't like the warmer weather, even if it's only 98 as opposed to 92, enjoy the early part of this week. That's everything I've got for you on this Monday morning. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.